peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. Good afternoon, all of you, wherever you wind the world, in China, in America, in Europe, in South Africa, West Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, and the Horn of Africa in Mogadishu, Asmara. Good afternoon. Thank you very much across in Nairobi. Good afternoon, Miriam Ogutu.
A very good afternoon to you, Dr. David Matanga. Good afternoon to our panelists, and also good afternoon to our viewers wherever they're watching us from today.
Thank you very much across the continent. I am broadcasting live from Mombasa, the second capital city of the Kingdom of the United Republic of Kenya. I am sorry not to say the kingdom because it looks like the judges can switch us to the kingdom anytime they want. But good afternoon, all of you. The Kenyan judges can actually swing us anywhere. They could even tell us not even to go to our houses. Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, Professor Jared Onyari. Welcome back. This is Punchline Africa Television. Professor Onyari. Professor Onyari.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Masanga, Dr. Nyanchama, Miriam Ogutu, and our viewers from wherever they are. It is nice to be back.
Thank you very much. You are welcome back, my brother. We have struggled and we thank God for keeping you wherever you are. Thank you very much. God is great. Thank you very much. We are very happy to make sure that we push the program further, and we are not going to get tired. Even if people said they will not go ahead, I and Professor Onyari and Dr. Nyachama and the rest of the people, we are going to push forward to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, I have instructed my international lawyers to push out of Kenya, because Kenya, I stand on behalf of 33 refugees who are in my sub-county as a result of the peace that was disrupted in Kenya. So I want those refugees, 33 of them, to be represented in a petition to understand why something that was going to bring peace in the Republic of Kenya should be stopped by 7 judges. So I remove very far. It is not yet over. Uhuru can refuse, Raila can refuse, but no individual will stop anyone from moving to the highest court of any nation, of East African Court of Justice, to find a solution for the people of Kenya. Either Kenya unites or it breaks. Good afternoon, Dr. Joseph Nyachama.
Good afternoon, Dr. Masanga, Miriam, Professor Nyaru, welcome back, and Wesonga. It's my pleasure to be in this discussion this afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Daniel.
Yes, a very good afternoon, Dr. Matsanga David in Mombasa, and good afternoon to my fellow panelists, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, Professor Jared Onyari, and our viewers here in Nairobi, Kenya, and the rest of the continent. I'm coming to you live from Radio Punchline Africa, your #1 Pan-African radio station.
Thank you very much across the world, wherever you are tuning. Pick up a phone and talk to us. Talk to us on Facebook. Talk to us on YouTube. Talk to us on Instagram. Talk to us. Which else medium is these days? I don't know. Medium knows all those type of things which are there for communication. For us, we are going to talk today. Viewers of Africa Showdown, I want to say a television station across in Nigeria requested us to broadcast what is going on in Kenya after the ruling on the BBI, the Building of Bridges Initiative. Miriam, we are going to be put across the world, beamed later on today for this program so that people understand exactly the constitutional rights that the 7 judges have created on this continent and on this Africa and in the Commonwealth. Thank you very much. First of all, let's look at the headlines. And the medium has got the headlines, newspaper headlines. What do they say? What is the postmortem?
All right, thank you. And the Sunday Nation, the main headline there reads, Uhuru Raila lawyers call for crisis meeting. Appeal Office of Attorney General contemplates moving to the Supreme Court. And then moving on, Jubilee Party to announce position on ruling tomorrow, says Tuju. Forging ahead, AG meeting with lawyers not tied to appeal decision. The stories are on page 4, 19, 20 and 21 of the Sunday Nation. And then just down there, Ruto's moment of glory. And then on the Sunday Standard, the main headline, Ruto Raila plans after fall of BBI. Just hours after the Court of Appeal ruling, ODM leader declares that he is ready to face the DP at the ballot next year, even as the second in command sets his agenda and includes a national vaccination program and a revival of the Big Four agenda. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Sunday Standard. So that is what we have as our main headlines in the two newspapers today.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Let's start with what you have just ended on. The DP sets an agenda. Stupid. What agenda is this is setting to who? The DP, first of all, made it very clear that he did not like the BBI. He made it very categorical. He has been stabbing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in the back. He has been telling people not to support Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Even when Kenyatta went around to make sure that everything on the COVID-19, when Kenyatta was making COVID-19 arrangements, the DP was seated at his house. And later on, he plagiarized the speech of the president. You remember that last year? Mm-hmm. Now today, foolishly, he's starting up to say he wants to tell people about COVID-19. He has messed the country. He has backstabbed Uhuru Kenyatta. He has gone to Uhuru Kenyatta's constituency. Every morning, every night, he's created MPs who have destroyed his brother. He has destroyed the legacy. He has squandered the time for unity of this country. It is up to you, Kenyans. The matter is no longer in your hands because the 7 judges went on quoting everybody around the world. Therefore, people around the world are interested in the argument. Whether the AG or who, the president of Kenya, does not appeal, whether Raila does not appeal, is not my problem. Anybody in the world will appeal, will go to any court. Anybody in the Commonwealth. Because we don't want this thing to be used in the Commonwealth law. That a judge and the judges can sit down, usurp powers, and tell Kenyans that you cannot hold a referendum except when we give you permission to hold it. I want the law. I want you experts, anybody, Professor Onyari, Professor Joseph Nachama, and Douglas and Miriam, to quote me any law in the Kenyan Constitution that says that before you hold a referendum, you must first go and talk to Mr. J. Chiage. What is his name correctly? He comes from Nyamira or Kisii, I don't know. What is his real name? Judge Kiage, to tell you that you can now go and hold a referendum. Justice J. Kiage had good English, but very poor substance. In fact, he had no substance at all. The substance he was releasing was toxins that everybody, unfortunately, the Kenyans and Africans, we are used to celebrating people who speak some English that we don't understand and think they have spoken points. But in actual sense, Justice Kiage spoke rubbish, because I don't see anything that was anchored on law. There is no law in the Constitution of Republic of Kenya, the one I have, which says that you must go to the court to seek whether you need a referendum to change a structure, which is you. What is the structure then? What are the people then? Who are the people? Who makes the structure? Who builds the house? Who knows whether the house has cracks or not? My argument, therefore, is the structure are the people. The people are sovereign. The people can decide today or tomorrow to end anything that they want. The people of Kenya can decide, Miriam, that they want to be a monarch. They want to be a king and a queen. The people of Kenya can do that. You don't tell them that they need to have they need to come and consult a smaller court of 7 people. 4 million people signed their signatures, endorsed their signatures on document saying the constitution and the structure that they made, the structure that they put in place was faulty and the house was going to collapse. Do you now tell me that those people are useless? Do you tell me that all the MPs are useless? You tell me that all the people, MCAs, all Kenyans, 4 million of them, we don't, if there is a question of technicality, yes. But you can't tell me that the noble task that they set out, if they had knocked this BBI on noble task of maybe collection of signatures, we can go back and say, well, what was the collection of signatures? But as you see, most of the judges agreed that the collection of signatures was normal. They were printed all over on Facebook for you to see. You could have had the time to go and say, well, my name is not here. So that is enough. But let me come back to the point. My point and my argument is very simple. Mandela has fewer people than Kiambu. Mandela has over slightly 80-something thousand people. Kiambu has 2.2 million people. By 2022, they might be more. Mandela produces 0.5% of the GDP of Kenya. Kiambu produces 6% of the GDP of Kenya. One count. Mandela gets 44 billion shillings per annum. Kiambu gets 34 billion shillings per annum. Where is the democracy? Where is the equity? Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, my plea, and for me, Professor, I thank you very much for having accepted to join us and to join me on this long journey, the journey that on this great day, His Excellency, the late President Jomo Kenyatta passed away. It reminds me also on the same day I trekked through a trail and arrived in Kenya, and later on witnessed the burial ceremony. Today marks a great day for me also, that the journey to defend and to expose the toxins has begun. I want to tell you, Professor, that while you are away, then I have managed to get the entire Southern Africa to support me on a motion against the African Union. Miriam, I want to thank you. And I want to thank Dr. Nyachama, I want to thank you in the two good shows on Africa. Dr. Nyachama, we have delivered. And Professor Nyari, we have delivered. The whole entire SADC says we have to have a new chairperson. They don't agree. They will not agree. It is maybe Kenya which is wind falling. Uganda is going to fall on SADC already. They want a new chairperson. Thanks to our campaign, my campaign, headed by Pan-African Forum, we have scored. On the question of Israel, yes, they have agreed already now that there were no consultation, not that they hate Israel. I want to thank you that now this time, on this question of Kenya and the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and what is the structure? I have already spoken to, in my family I have 2 lawyers, very educated, one from one university and the other one recently from one. She graduated in July this year. I asked her, what is the basic structure? The answer she gave me, Dr. Nyachama, she first said that the structure of any constitution are the people. It is not the building called judiciary. It is not the building called the State House. It is not the building called the Parliament. The structure are the people in Parliament. Therefore, the structure remains the people. Every word, whichever way you take it, there will be people. It is not the structure as a building, which the judges there were trying to tell us that the structure is the judiciary, the assembly, National Assembly, and the executive. No. The structure are the people, and the people are the people who give instructions. Can we change the constitution? They change it. Can we modify the constitution? They can. They can even decide. They can even decide to destroy the constitution. Yes. The people of Kenya can decide today and say, we want a new referendum to vote whether we like this constitution or not. If they reach the percentage that is internationally recognized, Kenya will have no constitution, but will rewrite a new constitution. Therefore, there is no law in the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya that gives Judge Kiage the authority to tell people in big English, but with no substance, that you cannot change the Constitution. This was a Shakespearean theater of absurdity. A Shakespearean theater of absurdity. My detailed statement, Miriam, will be released on Wednesday, and the judge will also look for English dictionary, like Kenyans were looking for English dictionary. It is sad that some of them, when you write something, they say, oh, you have written too long, why don't you write one? Stupidity. You cannot ask a professor, you cannot ask Nyachama, you cannot go and get 4 degrees. Then you come here write like a town driller. No, you explain some things. But some of us use mass communication English. I am not using English of impressing a Muzungu. I'm using English that impresses mass communication for Africans with Africa for Africa. And therefore, Miriam, looking at all this, Ruto was the biggest assassin, political assassin of this constitution, of this BBI amendment. Ruto has not got any remorsefulness. Yeah, there is no remorse. Nyachama will tell us whether there was any remorse. A man who wants to come before you come the king, before you come to the court, Let your hands be clean before you come to seek. Nyachama knows how to put it very well. Unfortunately, when it reaches me with the name of Ruto in my mouth, it becomes very sour. So Nyachama could speak it nicely. I don't like the way things are. That he comes up to say, Godness, thank you very much. You removed our nation from wicked people. Who are wicked people? We are wicked. God was created for Mr. Ruto only. The rest of us walk on maybe the verses of Satan. But may God help. You know, this young man has reached the self-destruction point. That the point that nobody in Kenya is telling him, everybody in Kenya thinks he's the angel, the Messiah. A populist who has come up with, with shirts, trousers matching, no shirts. But he has come up to make every person in Kenya. I don't know whether because, Nyachama, I don't know whether you don't have choices. Do you? Are there no other choices in Kenya? To me, I believe Raila Odinga has a better choice. Because he has suffered for this country. I have no regrets about Mudavadi meeting Ruto because Mudavadi is a bishop. Therefore, they can as well go and pray. The Songa knows that very well. And they are using George Soros' money. They don't have money. Mudavadi has no money. So he has to hang on somebody who has money. So for me, I don't have anything. I'm not a Kenyan. I will not vote. But if I were a Kenyan, the first person I will give my vote in 2022 will be Raila Amolo Odinga. He has worked for this. He has suffered for this. You can degrade him to any level. The mere fact that he shook hands with the President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is enough for me. That gesture of shaking hands is very rare in Africa. It is found among the men who have honor, the men who can sit and dissect the honor, the men who can understand what pains them, what pains the nation. What pains Kenya today is not ascending to power. What pains Kenya today is the removal of violence before, during elections. What pains Kenya today is to have a transparent, clear, and manageable elections. What pains Kenya today is to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. What pains Kenya today is to remove corruption amidst the people of Kenya. The corruption that we see amongst Ruto's surrogates, most of them who steal the public funds and then run to Ruto for coverage, and Ruto threatens us with his so-called Stockholm Syndrome violence. What happens today in Kenya destroys Uganda. On behalf of the 33 refugees who have got status in my own county of Bududa, I am making an application. Where do they go? Where do they go? Let me see whether the Supreme Court will deny me, will deny those 33 refugees that 10 years, 11 years ago, they came to my place, to my district, to my clan. We gave them land. We gave them water. They need to come and stand and say, we would like to return home. What makes them different from Kenyans? The Kinufia who is in Bududa today, doing M-Pesa, wants to return home. The Chege who is in Bududa today wants to come back home. And I'm giving the Attorney General notes that most of the time you do these things alone, sir. Allow us to come in with a legal political bypass. It is the only solution to activism. The type of activism that you see in the courts of Kenya is worse than the type of killings that Hitler used. Yes, there is plenty of activism. They connive to get a case. This case has no merit to stand. But because of annoyance, the people, the hatred they have against Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, they have delivered a verdict. They are all afraid because of the word ombudsman. Ombudsman is the word that they are afraid of. Why can't we go to a higher court and expose if there is checks and balances? Was Abraham Lincoln wrong to say that checks and balances are the best way to get our constitutionalism working? Let's go. Let's go, ye. Professor Nyachama, Professor Onyari, Dr. Nyachama, Miriam, and Wesonga. I believe there is a case to pursue. Whether President Uhuru Kenyatta does want to pursue, fine. We are not going to ask him for his money to go and file an application. We shall go, if Kenya doesn't want, Professor Onyari, we shall go across to Arusha. The courts have been set very well in Arusha, that if you finally disagree with something that has been said, because the BBI affects my country, Uganda. The BBI affects the peace in Uganda. The failure of having a BBI will affect my country. My country won't have goods going into from Mombasa to Kampala because there will be violence. And nobody among the judges can tell me that he has predicted that there will be no violence. But the triggers, the hallmarks, the talk, the exchanges, the medium that you see on the newspapers of Kenya today, between those, especially the sharp tongue between Ruto and Raila Odinga, when the two go on a campaigning trail, and one of them does not win an election, we shall have violence. If I'm wrong, quote this day, 22nd of August 2021. I am not a man of doom. I don't wish any violence for the people of Kenya. But the few times I've been here, from 1992, the refugees that I received in London, those who used to call me a refugee in Kenya, they came and found me in London today. I filled their forms. I testimony. 1997, the same. 2007, I was here physically. With Sky News, I saw my panel. I saw refugees. I saw people killed. I witnessed some of the ashes, a church burning in Kiamba. We were the first crew of Sky News that arrived there with a helicopter, and the bodies were inside. It is very painful. Most of you don't know that I was here during the 2007-2008 as a Sky News Africa correspondent, Africa consultant. So any stupid person coming up to say, maybe I'm talking out of nothing. I was here. I saw those people dying without. I saw the burnt bodies. I witnessed them. Who has helped them? Who has helped the families of those people? And the same man today, does it now therefore shock you that it is only in his own hometown that the people celebrated? What about if he wins? What about if he loses? Doesn't it shock you now? I hand over this topic to Miriam to take over from there. Thank you, Dons. The two Dons, thank you, Underwell Songa. I have delivered my verdict. That is also my verdict. Thank you very much, Miriam. Back to you in the studios in Nairobi. I want to enjoy the sunshine of this second city. I don't know why you didn't tell them that from our correspondent across in Mombasa. I know you miss it, but unfortunately, I am the one enjoying it this weekend. Maybe it will be you next weekend. Thank you very much, Miriam. Across to you in the studios in Nairobi. God in Nairobi. Let me, in Mombasa, not in Nairobi. Yeah, in the studios in Nairobi. Not in Nairobi. In the studios in Nairobi.
Okay. All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And I think at this point, I'd like to bring in Professor Jared Onyari. Prof, I know you've been away for some time, but I'm sure you've been following. Could you please mute that?
Yes, Miriam, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Miriam, thank you for giving me the opportunity to also contribute to the debate which is going on. I can tell you constitutional making is a people are talking about 2020, how we walked the channel all the way from 1982. When I can remember when Kenya became a one-party state, we had to struggle to dismantle that, and we dismantled. The ruling which was just given by the 7 church bench, Miriam, it is a matter of time. I can assure you, the people of Kenya will change the constitution. Nobody, Miriam, the judiciary, the history of this country, they have never been supportive. And as much as we are going to the Supreme Court, and indeed we are going, but the people of the Supreme Court are thinking of the judges, whether they can appreciate Miriam. The word judiciary is hostile to BBI, Miriam. You know, we are introducing ombudsman who is going to bring checks and balances. They don't want accountability. Period, Miriam. I can tell you, Miriam, we are moving on. The conversation is there. We are proceeding to the Supreme Court, whether we go through or not, Miriam. The next government, which I'm sure that we have made within 100 days, Miriam, we have a working document, Miriam. You know what happened to Thomas draft, Miriam? It was shut down, and Miriam, it was mixed, Miriam, when we were making the Constitution of 2010, Miriam. We borrowed too much, and we borrowed every from the Thomas drafts. There was the referendum of 2005, Miriam. The no side won, Miriam. It did not stop the people of Kenya, Miriam, from just pursuing and getting a constitution. We will go, Miriam, all the way to ensure that we have amended the constitution, Miriam, because we have got that document. The people whom I know are Supreme, Miriam, are the people of Kenya. Take the document to them. They are knowledgeable enough, Miriam, to know that the process has not been followed. You don't need people, Miriam, to gag the entire arms of the government, the judiciary, the parliament, both the county government, Miriam, the state, the national assembly, Miriam, pass this document. The arm of the government is in this document, Miriam. More than 4 million Kenyans, Miriam, they appended the signatures, Miriam. This is how serious it is, Miriam. I know nobody can stop the BBI. Nobody can stop Kenyans from amending their constitution, Miriam, because Miriam, when you see people just trying to separate that BBI has been brought, Miriam, you can see the narrow thinking, Miriam. Who will hate Miriam? 35% of our national budget going to the ground, Miriam. See the character on the other, the character of Miriam. Are they for the people of this country, Miriam? At least the same people who opposed the 2010 constitutional Miriam, I can agree with Dr. Masanga that we are proceeding all the way to the Supreme Court. In the constitutional Miriam, if you don't agree, you proceed. We have got an opportunity to exhaust, and we are going to use this avenue. We don't need anybody's permission. We don't need Raila's permission, the Prime Minister. We don't need President Uhuru Kenyatta permission to go to the Supreme Court. We want the 7 judges of the Supreme Court, Miriam, to pronounce this smart Miriam. And it was posted as recorded Miriam, who stood firm to ensure that Kenya moves forward, to ensure that there is inclusivity, Miriam, to ensure that there is justice for the people of Kenya, Miriam, to ensure that we have got all the national ethos, Miriam. So not too much English vocabulary, Miriam, will just scarce. We will just go just like a cow, drink water, not even taking the noise coming from the frogs, Miriam. Let me conclude and submit that we are wanting the Speaker, Miriam, to have this matter conversed once more.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Jared Onyari. Dr. Joseph Nyanchama, I don't know what's your take on that Friday ruling against the BBI and which way forward?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Miriam, my fellow panelist. Dr. Masanga, thank you very much, Wesonga and Professor Nyari. First of all, Miriam, firstly, allow me, because I watched the whole proceedings, I was shocked. Mm-hmm. In fact, in a decade, you know why? 11 hours? 11 hours in this era of technology? Reading a ruling? People who purport that they are highly educated and highly modern? I think it is high time, first of all, even to put the time limit for even giving a ruling. Having said that, Miriam, you know what surprised me in the ruling, first of all, from some of the judges who were in fact speaking in languages which was in poetry form. Can you imagine bringing poetry to a court of law, a public court, where you say that the majority of Kenyans are illiterate and they don't understand English? I don't know whether my fellow panelists, you understood how they were saying. They don't understand English. They are semi-illiterate. They have no access to internet. And therefore, the promoters of the BPI were to put it in Kiswahili. Miriam, ask yourself, which language were they speaking? Not only ordinary English, very complicated, which in poetical form. Miriam, let me cite part of the poetical statements which shocked me. I don't know whether you understood. One of the judges said, the Constitution is constitutionally constituted to constitute a constituent of constitutionalism. What was that lawyer now saying? And he was addressing to the ordinary people. He said, who don't understand English. This lawyer went further, Miriam, to even other poetical statements. Hello, Miriam?
Yes, I can hear you, Doctor. Go ahead.
You know, I'm trying to build the case because I was shocked. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And in a court of law, seated in a public podium, delivering a judgment. And the person said, it matters not whether you carve seas as a dish, fit for the gods, or who him as a carcass fit for the horns. The cats are mortal. Either way, what was the judge saying? Was he making a ruling, lady? Let me tell you, Miriam, as a Christian, and Professor Nyari can bear witness, Jesus Christ was simple. Follow me. So that these followers were able to understand. You know, Miriam, this ruling, I'm telling you the truth. They were bringing complicated words to hide their mischief thinking. Because we usually say to argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead. What I'm saying is this, Miriam. These people never addressed matters of law. They allowed their emotions to lead their judgments. And in the midst of it, they lost it all. Why? Miriam go over both the body language, the words used, which to a certain extent they deviated and now went to give a personal opinion. In law, you don't give opinion, Miriam. And they went further to say, this thing must end. You don't say that as a judge. It's not a public rally. Number three, they were playing to the public gallery. I want to tell our judges, the courtrooms are public resources, and you cannot use them to advance your popularism. You use it for the public good. For me, by the way, they deviated from the point absolutely. Let me speak briefly about the genesis of what we call the basic structure. Do you know, Miriam, the basic structure was never intended. Even read the judgments in India and all other Commonwealth countries. It was never intended for the people. It was only intended to control Parliament, not the people. So that the basic structure came into form so that it warns Parliament. There are certain clauses which are reserved for the people, meaning reserved for popular initiative. You know what they were saying? That I, as a citizen, and my other fellow citizens, that we have no power to amend the Constitution. Has the world ever had argument like that? The people is the supreme law. No law, no lawyer, no constitution can prevent the will of the people to determine how they want it to be ruled. That is why, Miriam, we must move to the Supreme Court to conclusively determine this matter legally and constitutionally before other avenues are explored. Because these judges have set a very dangerous precedent. Because this initiative was about peace. And before you even make a judgment, you must know consequentialism is a theory of justice. You look at the consequences. Imagine they were saying that this initiative was dismembering the Constitution. Miriam, are you persuaded enough? Are my fellow panelists really persuaded by that argument? I don't know what has happened to our legal scholars, especially judges. There was a very interesting judge, the lady. She was calm, using symbol language, and every Kenyan, by the way, understood her. I think it's one who dissented. Ask most Kenyans are saying they admired her. But other lawyers, some people were not even understanding. Lastly, Miriam, before I submit, because there are many issues, look at the quorum of IPC. I don't know what my fellow panelists are going to say. What is going to come of the decisions IPC has made almost 12 to 10 elections, both MCA and members of parliament? What is going to happen? They did not pronounce themselves on that. What shocked me above all most was when a judge stands before a court of law and they say that MCA were bribed, why can't those MCA take this man to court? That's defamatory. Can you imagine that is a judge saying in a court of law that they were bribed with the car grants to pass. I've never had a judge making such allegations, understanding the consequences of such statements. Anyway, I don't know what has become of them. Maybe God will tell us. For now, Miriam, I submit.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama from Nairobi. Daniel Wasonga, listening to that ruling on Friday, I did not hear any of the judges raise questions about the issues or the content of the BBI, but there seems to be a lot of problems when it comes to the process. So they faulted the process of the BBI. What's your feeling on that?
Yes, thank you, Miriam Mogutu. And of course, the elders of the panel have really exhausted the field. But nonetheless, I'll chip in and give my very honest opinion. I think for me, on my part, it was a bit ridiculous that these judges prosecuted the document on the basis of hearsay and also public euphoria. And that is why Dr. Joseph Nyanchama said that these are people who are playing to public gallery. You know, just the same way some few selfish politicians and individuals have been spreading a very wrong narrative about the BBI agenda. That is the same notion that the judges actually had in their rulings. And to me, I don't think that was a very well expedited judicial ruling. Rather, it was a philosophical or rather interest-filled statements that these judges were reading to the people. When you could listen to their drift and the tone of their language, you could say that these were people who were very well aware of what BBI held, and especially on the matter of the judiciary ombudsman, which I believe it's a thorn in the flesh of the judiciary, which has been operating like a cartel. And therefore, when you bring the question of accountability to these judges, it is more likely that they were going to reject the BBI agenda. However, as Dr. Masanga said, there's no one who will stop Kenyans' quest to have a very peaceful country and to determine their own very future. Because the BBI, Miriam, when you look at whatever recommendations the BBI envisages, these are recommendations that are going to make Kenya a great nation beyond cycle, beyond even the term of President Uhuru Kenyatta or Raila Odinga or William Ruto, because it makes sure that it fixes the problems and the sections of our constitution which are lacking. Because to begin with, Miriam, we have a constitution which is a very hybrid document, and through its implementations, we have seen that we have sections which cannot actually be implemented, which are very, very much conflicting. For example, the question of the gender equity, which has been quite untenable, among so many other articles of the Constitution. Remember the other time when the Supreme Court, the President of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Maraga, wrote to the President advising him to dissolve Parliament. Now, that kind of scenario in our Constitution, where does it lead government to? Does it lead us to stability or anarchy? So if you have such clauses in a constitution where if the president had to go ahead and dissolve parliament, then it leads the country into anarchy. We need to fix such clauses in the constitution. Also, another question is the question of leadership, where after every election we have people fighting amongst themselves. Why can't we solve this question of inclusivity so that each and everyone, after voting for their candidate, they go home quite satisfied, knowing that whether they're in government or in the opposition, their affairs will be well catered for, and therefore there's no need of moving into the streets and causing chaos and mayhem. So to me, Miriam, I think it was a very, very big loss for the people of Kenya, and that was courtesy to a very skewed, lopsided judiciary ruling, and also the politicians who contributed in distorting facts and the reality of what BBI intended to do and the content of the document. So I think, Miriam, to me, it is a very, very bad thing that we had to go that route, and Kenyans should be very aware that perhaps consequences are going to hit, and they are going to hit very hard. Today, I woke up to read Dr. Matsanga's article about the post-BBI ruling by the Court of Appeal. And when you go through the article, you find very hard-hitting points about what is bound to happen in the coming days. And it is a very, very clear loss for the people and the Republic of Kenya. I submit, Miriam.
All right, thank you, Daniel Wasonga, in our Punchline Africa radio studios. They're just opposite to where I am this afternoon. Dr. Matsanga, back to you. Dr. Matsanga, can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miriam. Do you hear me properly?
Yes. Back to you now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I want to advance the discussion further. Dr. Nyachama and Professor Onyari plus Sean, they have brought in new direction that I did not see. Dr. Nyachama brought me something that I have remembered, which I must add in my petition. For a judge to be indisciplined is worse than a mouse that gropes in the basket when the collections are being sent to God. I don't know whether you know that. All of us go to church. Do you know why our churches have long roofs, ceiling? I don't know whether Nyachama you have realized that the Professor Onyari and Wesonga, and especially Miriam who always walks in the church, I don't go much. But do you know why the churches had long ceiling? It is because any mouse that drops there, it is actually a very big crime in Roman ancient history. For the mouse to drop, it means that the mouse is very hungry. It means you have starved it. Even the smell of the money, the collection, the silver, the diamonds, all the cattle that you collect and give to God. So the Christians in Europe, if you read the European history, had to build their ceiling of churches so far. Because, you know, a mouse could, if the church, the ceiling was down here, it could attempt to drop in the basket. But when the mouse looks at the distance between the bishop who is praying for the offertory savings that you have given, and says, will I drop down here? No, it goes back. That's why it degenerated centuries came until they said, it is very difficult. If you are poor like church mouse. So the judges that did the ruling, one of them called MCAs thieves, condemned them, said they were bribed. And Nyachama has brought that out seriously. Surely, a judge telling people you were bribed. So imagine such a judge. If an MCA arrived in front of him, the MCA will be sentenced to the maximum sentence of the offense, not because of the offense, because of the hatred. Point number 2, all this ruling, and all of you have summarized it very well. Miriam, the entire ruling has nothing to do with BBI. The entire ruling is to punish Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, to punish the legacy of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, whom they don't like. None of them on the bench wanted even. They entertained. Look at the first judges. the first judges entertained Section 73 of the Constitution of Republic of Kenya that talks about contravening the Constitution by the President. Did you notice that? The High Court had an intention to have President Uhuru Kenyatta impeached. Because had that section gone through, it would automatically mean that the president has contravened the Constitution by using the Constitution and changing the Constitution, which is a grave matter, which is impeachable. So don't lose that fact. The other third point is the manner in which the judges talked about electoral commission. Some of the applicants who succeeded in this application, who was the presiding officers, who were the presiding officers of the election of LSK? Had you thought about that in a channel? It is the IEBC. And I'm sure the JSC, the IEBC, has been involved in elections in circles, in other institutions that govern JSC, which is the Judicial Service Commission that appoints judges. The same IEBC has been conducting elections in almost everything. Political parties that come and present cases in front of you. Every election, the nominations, the IEBC has been involved. There is another function that they got involved, which was of national importance. So the LSK to come and file a case saying the IEBC is not corrected, if it is not corrected, there is no quorum. Yet the IEBC is the one that gave LSK mandate. How do you think about that? How? Another thing that struck me when I listened up to the end, I saw the building of anger. The last lady who read what is her name? Okwango? I don't know her name, Miriam. You such people who have therapy of discussion. I didn't know whether she was speaking or spitting vermin. I don't know what she was doing really. I did not follow up. You saw the type, the mood. So if Uhuru Kenyatta had been near there, they would reach him. Actually, they wanted to reach the president. So, there is one thing that I want to move further, and this will be reviewed in the courts, maybe not in Kenya. Because in other courts, you are free to say, I am investigating the line of $150,000 that was paid to some people, about 10 people from George Soros. I'm following that line. And I will bring the details shortly in the course of the week. Then the medium now, it is not paid, it is not here, but it is up to the system of the security systems to follow up. Is there a foreign hand in Kenya's judiciary? Is there someone paying the Kenyan judiciary? It's a very serious matter that I leave to you Kenyans. Is there somebody paying the Kenyan judiciary? Someone who has promised them a Canaan if if you disappear, Canaan will be with you. Is there something that is going on? Look at the type of celebrations. Another thing, lastly, as I hand back to Miriam, is the question of national security and national unity. The judges, when violence breaks up again in 1 year's time, will these judges tell us that they were not aware that this violence was coming? Because they hated the BBI like Ruto hated the BBI. They hated the BBI like Mudavadi hated the BBI, but pretended to go on collecting money from various places. Even videoed carrying money himself physically. So some of these things are coming out now. Because we have been, you know, Miriam, we have been keeping quiet about certain people thinking they have decorum. But some people have no decorum. Time has come for them to be ashamed, to be exposed so that the Kenyans can know the type of people that you are going to vote into office. People who go to people's office looking for money. When the money is not available, you turn to look again at Ruto. Then you turn around again somewhere. So time has come. The good thing is that the technology of today does not lie. But now, with Song and Miriam, things are going to be very bad because it is a do or die. You have decided you want to run it that way. Let it run. That's the Miriam. Yesterday when I was flying out of Nairobi, when I was seated in the VIP lounge of Kenya Airways, not government, someone came whom I have not seen for 2 years. And this is a man I was looking for, who has my money, whom I paid 242,000 over Kenya shillings to bail him out of industrial area prison. And that person was none other than Moses Kuria. Miriam, I don't know if it were you, what would you do? I just wanted to ask before I tell you what I did. What would you do if a man has, you helped a man 2 years ago, he got out of prison, but he never came back to say hi because all people were collecting money to pay his bail. But then after 2.5 years, you bump into him. What do you say to him? Maybe before I tell you what I said. Miriam?
Nothing really.
You just look at him.
Just say hi and move on.
Hi. Okay, Dr. Nachama, what would you say? You are nearly like me.
Angus, you said you helped him. So it was not a death, unless you want to substitute the words.
No, there was a balance of money.
You gave him a loan.
It wasn't even a loan. There was a balance of money for me to pay. For people were paying money. Then a telephone call came from me from prison that my friend, my brother has collected this much. Can you help? So I also went out and collected that amount and I gave the brother. But this is a man who has not talked to me for 2.5 years. All of a sudden you bump into him at the airport. What do you say? I can't hear you. Yes.
You simply tell him, how are you, bro? Long time. I've not seen you, man.
Okay. Thank you. Wesonga, as we come back to Miriam, maybe he has some African news. We're Songa before we conclude. We shall conclude early today, Miriam, don't worry. Yes? What do you say? What would you say to such a person?
Yes,
Dr.
yes, Doc.
What would you say to such a person, Daniel?
Yes, Doc, I didn't get the gist of your discussion. My connection was a bit low.
Okay. You paid 242,000 to remove your friend from a prison who had called you because there was a balance of 242 before he gets out. And he tells the brother to come to you to give that money. But 2.5 years, you don't even hear from the person who was released from remand because of your money. And after 2.5 years, you bump into him. What do you do? Wesonga.
He seems to be having a problem with his connection.
He has a problem. Okay,
Yes.
Miriam. Exactly. What Nyachama has said is what I said. Is what I said. Miriam, have you heard? What Nyachama said is what I said. I said, hello, how are you, brother? Well done. I said, well done, and well having created a new party. Oh, my friend, I was about to come to look for you. I said, no, don't worry. Where are you traveling to? Oh, we are traveling to this destination. Okay. I said, thank you. Oh, but you know what? Dr. Matsanga, you are right. This thing is a problem. How can a man force us to go to a party who is going to see fire? This, I said, okay. Luckily enough, Miriam, I was saved by the last call for the plane to board. And I don't know how he felt in his, he must have said, he was not coming on the same flight with me. He was in another plane. The same plane going to the same destination, but two of them. So I said, he must have said, this guy is bad news. Why is he not asking for the money? Because I had this is what we call reconciliation. You leave it to God. And that's why maybe God helps us. Some of us are still alive. And I left it to God, Nachama, exactly that. Say, how are you, bro? How have you been? Long time, but there's one word I want to tell you, I confess, I said you have grown so, your legs you are growing so thin and downwards. What is the problem? Are you not eating well? Are you over drinking? Tell Madame to cook more food so that you can have a body like mine. That's all. I think I saw if I agree, Miriam, if I added more words there, I would get annoyed and angry. But I said, my friend, are you all right? He said, I'm okay, it's okay. But I tell you, why I brought that is reconciliation. Reconciliation. Don't carry the anger forever. The way I see Kenyans, you are carrying the anger forever. If this is the type of anger you are going to go with for elections, the type of anger which is on Facebook, Miriam, don't conduct these elections. Don't make this is going to be a bad one with all its candidates, especially the other group deciding to take sides. Then the two come. The type of celebrations that you saw in Eldoret and no other part of the Kenya celebrated because of BBI, you must be prepared. And the president must crack the whip somewhere. he must look for a way to make sure that some laws that were rejected by the court can be easily passed, well passed. And I think that is very, very important. That is where I can call that for me, my journey on two prongs. The Supreme Court, if it allows amicus curiae on the basis that I will have signatures from 23 Kenyans that are in the diaspora and that they are not happy about the developments, that's one. Two, that I will give an amicus curiae on understanding that there is no law in Kenya. In the Commonwealth, as a Commonwealth citizen, I'm entitled to not the lower courts, but the Supreme Court of any country to take part in their rulings or giving them advice as a Commonwealth citizen. That law is very clear. If you have anything that is different, which you can give as an example, you can come to the Supreme Court. So I will go, and I am your lead boss. I'm ahead there. I'm preparing my grounds. By Wednesday this week, Miriam, my lawyers, both local and international, would have produced a document that I will put to Kenyans to read. If the courts reject, Kenyans would have read, but keep the document for future consideration. I hand back to you unless there is anything on Africa, one or two, which I saw about Southern African states rejecting completely the AU notion of accepting Israel without consultation. So there you are, all of them 17 countries in Southern Africa, plus several other countries of Arab world. So we have about 34 to 35 countries of African Union that have rejected almost enough for a vote of no confidence in the chairperson of African Union. I said it and I will say it again, that is an effort enough. And Nachama, you said it the other time, while we are in a conference in Mombasa, you said, if African Union does not stand up to act, people will make it act. So here we are. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. I don't think anybody has anything else to add to that, unless somebody else has something to add to that. Doctor has concluded the show for us.
For me, Miriam, this Kenyan matter of the court ruling is making some of us panic because of the cohesive nature of our nations. I wanted only to say one thing or two. One, the Court of Appeal handled the matter where it had interest. A proposal to introduce Obudimanism. Why did they pronounce them on it? You cannot adjudicate a matter where you have interest. That specific proposal, they were to leave it to the people. Can these judges answer me directly? Ombudsman was a proposal to check them. Why did they rule on it? They should have expressed their personal interest on the matter and excuse themselves from pronouncing themselves on that matter. Through you, Dr. Masanga Miriam, please, I hope Kenyans are listening us. And I wanted to say something. I wish to remind all Kenyans that nation building can be regarded as an attempt to achieve higher and higher levels of cohesion and coherence. Why did they rule on it? Cohesion without coherence could be like a body without a soul. And aspiration for nationhood, my dear Kenyans, that cannot find embodiment in physical form cannot constitute a basis for nation building. We need to move to the Supreme Court to build both a cohesive and a coherent nation so that we build our nation for the future generation. Let us not allow personal egos and interests of other people to destabilize our nation. As our citizen, let us explore all possible options to bring sanity and peace to our republic. Miriam, I submit. That's what I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Nyanchama. Thank you, Professor Jared Onyari. Thank you, Daniel Wesonga. And of course, Dr. David Matsanga, unless there's anything else, but I think we've exhausted because this is a conversation that we will continue having as it is a very important developing story in this country. This has been Africa Showdown. My name is Miriam Mugutu. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye for now.